What's going on, guys? Welcome to Let's Talk Games, my first ever, probably not recurring series. Let's just get a quick few things out of the way. One, I just got out of the shower. You can probably tell. Two, you can see it just off the webcam. Got my mic close to me. This is going to be an ASMR episode. Because despite being 18 years of age, I haven't quite moved out yet. And it's the middle of the night. Anyways, with the random personal updates out of the way, let's talk games. I've got a script here with some talking points. First off, GTA 6. I woke up this morning to see that My dog is playing with a squeaky toy. He's much less considerate of people sleeping than me. I woke up to see that Rockstar announced what day they will be doing their GTA 6 trailer. Or at least that's what I would say if I exclusively listened to Dexerto, you lying bastards. You see, actually they announced a GTA trailer. They said nothing about GTA 6, which means that we're still uncertain about whether or not this is going to be a full $70 game, or a live service game like Destiny 2 that's gonna have a bunch of expansions and then is not accessible to try and play at all a few years down the line because it costs $200 on Steam. Anywho, now that I've talked about that, I honestly just wanted to get GTA 6 out of the way so I could put it in the title. Moving on to a game I care much more about, Thousand Year Door Remake. Now there's just a few things I want to address with this. For starters, we were not given an actual release date. I'm pretty sure the trailer just said 2024. I think we can probably expect it early 2024. The real question is will we get the game before... I had so long to work on that sentence and I still messed it up. The real question is, will we get our hands on it before or after the February Direct? I think most likely before, mostly because of just how many games Nintendo already has lined up for 2024. You know, between Luigi's Mansion 2 Remake and Princess Peach Showtime, I can see them wanting to release Thousand Year Door a little bit sooner. Next up, something I've only seen Twitter people complain about. The floors are shiny. Who cares? I think it looks nice. It makes it look more like a diorama. Moving on. Finally, they've stopped making Paper Mario just a flat piece of paper. Oh my god, that has looked so weird. Not bad, just weird. But in Thousand Year Door Remake, he finally has like layers. He looks like he's made out of cardboard. It looks so much better. And finally, the main thing I wanted to talk about with Thousand Year Door is the fact that the trailer looked to be in 30 FPS. Now, I'll be real. A Paper Mario game in 30 frames per second isn't a big deal. Something about the art style and the animations just makes 30 frames per second work. But it is still a little weird considering the GameCube version was 60. However, it is also definitely worth mentioning that we saw it in... Was that in the September Direct? If so, it's already been a few months. I wouldn't be shocked if it was 30 for the Direct, but 60 by the time it releases. And I mean, hell, people are saying the Switch 2 might be backwards compatible. Maybe it's 60 on the Switch 2. Who knows? Speaking of the Switch 2, let's talk about the Switch 2. Now, I said a while ago, Nintendo doesn't usually just do hardware upgrades. That's not really their thing. They usually include some sort of gimmick. You know, the DS to the 3DS, the Wii to the Wii U. It was a big jump of some kind. So I don't think the next Nintendo console is just going to be better rendering or something like that. You know, there's going to be something else there that we just don't know about yet. Since I brought up the Wii U, it's worth mentioning it set the precedent of, assuming it's backwards compatible, it'll be Joy-Con compatible too. I have to assume Nintendo wouldn't just abandon the Joy-Cons already, but I could also absolutely see them abandoning the Joy-Cons already. And finally, with the Switch 2, let's talk about the Fantasy Life leak. That might be the most interesting leak I've ever seen. So for those of you that don't know, there was recently a press conference of sorts that talked about just upcoming games for a certain studio. I don't know a ton about it. I didn't watch the press conference. I only watched the segment where they talked about what I'm about to talk about. Hair just floated by me. Essentially, a new Fantasy Life is going to be on the Nintendo Switch. It was slated for a 2023 release date, but they said that they were going to delay it to 2024. And they also said they were going to keep their release date time to September of 2024 for, quote, strategic reasons. So, a lot of people are speculating that Nintendo doesn't quite know the exact day they want to release the Switch to, but Fantasy Life is going to try and line up its release to also be on the Switch too. Hey guys, I just want to quickly add, I said it looks like Nintendo didn't pick a specific date, but upon looking at the visual, it looks like they said they already know a specific date. So apparently they're just keeping secrets from us to be assholes. Also, I'd like to just go back and strike something I said a second ago. I believe I said September of 2024. I meant summer of 2024. But also to most likely be September. And finally, the last category I want to talk about is the Game Awards. The Game Awards are in, I believe, 4 days as of this coming out, and I just kind of want to talk about what we might be seeing there. So for starters, a lot of people still on the Switch 2 have said we might get a trailer of some kind for it. And to you people, you are the dumbest fucking people on the planet. Why in God's name would Nintendo announce new hardware 18 days before Christmas? Oh my god, that would be a death wish. What's gonna happen with the Switch 2 is they're going to continue denying rumors and leaks until the holiday season is over, in which case they might be like, alright, some of the leaks were real, and then they'll release a trailer probably in the February Direct, but we're not going to hear about it for the rest of the year. But what we might hear about from Nintendo is maybe a new game of some kind. Nintendo has had some Game Award presence in the past. One thing that might get teased at the Game Awards is a new 3D Mario game. It has been like 6 or 7 years since Odyssey now, which is the longest gap between 3D Mario games ever, I'm pretty sure. So we're almost certainly due to at least hear about it. I wouldn't be shocked if they do what they did for Odyssey, where they show us a new Mario game with like one new area, but don't show us the main gimmick or the true scope of the game. Now for this next thing I want to talk about, you're gonna have to excuse me because I'm not really in the Xbox space a ton, but I remember with the, I believe it's the FTC leaks, we saw an Xbox revision for 2024. Basically, I think it's a Series X Slim or something like that. Might have been a Series S. Regardless, there's some sort of Xbox revision coming. I think we can almost certainly see that at the Game Awards. Xbox usually likes to announce stuff at the Game Awards. And the final thing I want to talk about actually concerning the Game of the Year is I was almost certain Baldur's Gate 3 was gonna win. But then I sort of sat there and thought about it more, and the Game Awards are 90% critic decided. And while I don't think RPGs are necessarily niche, I would say between liking RPGs and not liking RPGs, the split is like 60-40. So I can absolutely see critics going the way of Tears of the Kingdom, unless social pressure has affected them. But regardless of what wins Game of the Year, it's important to also recognize this year was just great for game releases, not necessarily game development. The studios kind of all crashed and burned. But for game releases, we got a lot of great games, a lot of which unfortunately just aren't represented a ton at the Game Awards. But regardless of what wins, I think we can all pretty fairly say all 6 nominees absolutely deserve to be nominated for Game of the War. Game of the Year. Anyways, that's the end of the first and possibly last episode of Let's Talk Games. Thank you for watching, and bye.